As I'm sure most of you know, there's a horrific shooting at Brown University last Saturday afternoon. A gunman burst into a study review session, apparently for an economics class, and opened fire inside the room. One of the students who was murdered, a friend of hers, colleague of hers, is our guest. We welcome you to Sten Reacts, and I want to welcome to our show a longtime friend, great advocate herself, Niyoka Powell. Niyoka, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm sure a lot of people, especially on the east side of Providence, is shaken about the incidences that have been going on. I'm sure everybody is feeling probably more anxious than me, but my anxiety rate is pretty up there right now.
So tell us how you knew Ella. I'm going to put her picture up as you speak about it, but tell us how you knew her.
Sure. I met Ella last year um, at an event hosted by the Republicans on the Brown campus. They were hosting an event that was a nonpartisan event about the EVs. And actually, Gita was the one that shared it with me. And
Peter Showboy.
um, yes, and so we went, and that's how I ended up meeting Ella. And right away, she was like a breath of fresh air. She was such a sweet person, um, very cordial. She was just a breath of fresh air compared to a lot of people that I've met in my travels.
Let's go back a little, and I should have done this first, but we'll tell everybody who
Mhm.
you are. Now you have been since you've arrived on the scene a number of years ago. You've pretty much
Mhm.
been everywhere. I mean, you are
Yeah.
involved. You've run twice for the General Assembly. You're involved in city politics with the Republican Party in Providence. You've been an officer of the statewide Republican Party. You're the director of Rhode Island Families for School Choice, and you're just everywhere. So I'm not surprised that you got to know Ella a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you happen to know Ella was the head of, as I understand it, the college Republicans on the Brown campus?
She was the vice chair, yes, or the vice
Vice chair.
president. Yeah, the vice president.
Okay, and did you actually go to any of their meetings on campus, or what kind of meetings did you meet her at?
No, it was just, my little one and I, we go up to Fair Street quite a bit. Sometimes I would run into her grabbing food. We love Mike's Calzone, so we were always up there, and getting boba. So it was really just like in passing or in a store, we'd run into each other, and our little one, whom you've met several times, is just as
She was
charming.
fabulous.
Yeah, and Ella absolutely loved children, and so she did a lot of work with her church back home, so in Alabama. So we got to talking a lot about that as well, because we frequent our church as well. So there was that connection. So it was just she was just an all around great person. We kind of connected a lot on talking about babysitting and just Bible study. So it was really cool.
Now she was one of two students killed. Here's the picture of I believe Ella was a sophomore, and
Yes.
this young man was a freshman. He was from Uzbekistan, I believe. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. Well, I'll give it a try just to honor him. Muhammad Aziz Murzakov. He was from
Mhm.
Uzbekistan, wanted to be a neurosurgeon, as we've heard, and he was gunned down as well. But I want to get back to Ella. You mentioned that not only was she vice chair of the Brown Republican uh, group on campus, but she was devout Christian.
Yes.
Her Church of the Advent in Birmingham, Alabama. We just let me put it out again. Even the governor of Alabama put up the tribute to her right here, Kay Ivey.
Hmm.
And you mentioned Bible studies. So you guys have done some Bible studies together?
Well, we haven't done Bible studies together, but it was always a great discussion because our little one is going through it right now, and baptism's coming up, and so is First Communion. So we had a lot of connections in talking about how to teach young ones, the essence of what the Bible is about and how to live a godly life.
Um, how did you how did you hear about first the shooting and then hear that it was your friend Ella
Yeah.
who we lost.
Um, Ironically, I was not in the state when it was happening, and I didn't hear about it until I we were driving into Rhode Island via the northwestern side of Rhode Island. My husband and I ventured out for the day and we're coming back in, and I got a phone call from my friend Adriana from Texas, and she said, "What the heck is going on in Providence?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Have you not looked at your phone?" I'm like, "No, I'm spending time with my husband." And she was like, "Are you kidding? Something's happening. Please stay safe. Please stay out of Providence right now. They don't know what's going on. There's a shooting." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." So we didn't get back into the city until about 8 o'clock at night. And I didn't find out that it was Ella until, oh gosh, late into the night when they first released it. I don't even know. I didn't really sleep most of the weekend after that. So it was it's heart-wrenching because they don't know who the person is and they don't know where the person is. Yeah, I don't know. So
No,
it's very scary to think about.
we don't. Of course, we don't know the motive. I'm going to speculate on that a little bit. Well, I'm not going to speculate, but I'm going to address some of the speculation on that after we say goodbye to you. But this is
Yeah.
a statement from Joe Powers, who's head of the Rhode Island Republican Party. I want to bring this up for two reasons, because as I understand it, first of all, the college Republicans on Brown or on any campus are not officially part of the Republican Party. That's just the
Yeah,
name they use. Is that correct?
that's correct.
Okay, and then but you are plugged into the official Republican Party, both statewide and the local and Providence level.
Mhm.
I haven't had a chance to talk to a lot of people, uh, but you have. Can you give us a little sense? How well known was Ella known throughout the party in this state, and any general reactions you'd like to comment on?
Well, I think party-wise, not so much, because, like you said, we try to keep them separate from the actual state party. Anyone who does reach out to the state party obviously will provide direction, but it's not necessarily our push to drag our college students into the fold of the politics that's happening within the states, because, typically we like to have volunteers, we like to have students who want to go the political route, but typically they reach out to us if they're, wanting to participate. I think as students, especially as young as Ella was, we try to give them the ability to understand their college environment and where they are. She's far away from home. She was from Alabama. Um, and it's a lot. The politics of Rhode Island itself is a lot. And to be a student in an area that you're not from, sometimes it's just safer to say, if they're that driven to be part of it, for them to reach out to us instead of us reaching out to them. Because contentions are high in any um, party, really, more so on the Republican side.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of tensions, I mean, everything seems to be at an all-time high. The murder of Charlie
Yeah.
Kirk, and
Hmm.
some people are trying to have honest,
Hmm.
civil, back and forth debate. Just because we disagree doesn't mean we have to hate each other. It certainly doesn't mean we have to
Correct.
kill each other. Now, we don't know if this was politically
Hmm.
motivated or not. I'll get into that later. But I want to go back to Ella for a second.
Sure.
I've seen reports and heard reports, similar to what you said, that she was a bright light on the one hand,
Hmm.
and very engaging personality, someone fun to be around. Other reports say she was very outspoken. She stood for ground for her conservative principles, of course, in a very blue state and an even
Hmm.
probably more blue campus than Brown
Yeah.
University. Is that consistent with what you knew about her?
Yeah, it's consistent. And I think there's something to be said when you have kids that are strong in their convictions. As a parent, I would pray that my child would be able to stand on her own 2 feet and defend what she believes in. I don't think any person or any parent wants their child to be bullied. And I think that having a child with a backbone actually gives the parent some kind of a relief to know that their child is being taken care of in the environment that they're in, or they can take care of themselves. I think that's a plus as a parent.
Sure. Did you know Ella to be engaged in advocacy outside of the campus? You know, with some of the
No,
you're involved a lot. So she pretty much kept
no.
it on campus.
Yeah, and I think that's why I'm saying, like, even though, there's a lot of contentions about not having young enough people in the Republican Party representing the Republican Party in Rhode Island, we also understand that, students who are of conservative values tend to focus on why they're here to begin with. They're students first. They're not politicians, they're not advocates, and we don't try to disturb their direction of their education. I mean, Brown University is not a cheap school to go to.
Right.
And so, the focus and primary focus that I've always said to anyone that I've ever met is it's your education first. You're here for a reason and you know what your reason is. But if you decide to dive into things, then that's you deciding to dive into things.
You had mentioned earlier you shared some experiences in Bible study that you've each gone through. Did you discuss her future plans? If she planned to have a career at all in politics, or
Um,
any
we
idea what she was hoping to live to be?
we we didn't talk politics, and I think that's
Oh,
the beauty of some of these
yeah,
relationships that I've
yeah,
cultivated through the years with people is, for most of the time it's actually getting to know the person and getting to know, who they are. I try to shy away from politics, believe it or not, because I want to see the person for who they are. Because a lot of people hone in on specific words or terms and then all of a sudden shut down from hearing a specific word and attribute it to politics. And it's really sad that we can't have these conversations anymore with people. So when you find someone that you actually can have connections with and have conversations that are outside the political realm, it's really refreshing.
I don't want to do anything specific to this case, this shooting, this murder of Ella and of the other young freshman. But I want to ask you, you've been on the scene here in Rhode Island. Well, I'm guessing what, maybe 5 years now or so.
Yeah,
I
about
I
that time.
remember seeing your profile on Facebook. I said, "Oh, I gotta meet this lady. I think she speaks our language," and I was right about that. But even on social media, it's just
Hmm.
nasty these days. And now, again, we don't know that this one was political, but we do know
Hmm.
there have been other political violence throughout the country. Just in your 5 years from getting engaged, have you noticed a change in the animosity level?
Well, the temperature is definitely high. And I think there's one thing to commend most conservatives, moderates, whatever you want to consider yourself, a person who has a brain, is that, oh, the light's off, is that when you actually have a conversation with someone, um, it's you can tell how the political landscape has affected them and their families. Um, the mood is down, the morale is down, um, and so that's why I emphasize that typically some of the relationships that I form outside of politics, that are new relationships, I try not to bring politics into it because so much of it right now is everywhere and
Yeah.
it's clearly directing how people respond to each other. So I try to harbor
You
those
know,
genuine
that
relationships.
that's such a good point because too many people live politics 24/7. It's all they can
Hmm.
think about.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
who I disagree with, who I'm going to hate, what I'm
Yeah.
going to say in social media, who I'm going to support. I mean, it's part of our life and it influences a lot that happens in our life, but it can't be your life.
Yeah. Yeah. I try very hard for it to not be my life, but it just somehow
Well,
turned
that's
into my
hard to believe
life.
with you because, like I said, you are everywhere. I can't think of one event where I don't see Niyoka Powell. So, well, listen, thank you. Our condolences to you for losing a friend.
Yeah.
Like you said, not just a political friend, but a personal
Yeah.
friend. We're,
Mhm.
we're very sorry, and we're very grateful you to coming on today on Sten Reacts to share your reaction to this horrid murder. Thank you, Niyoka Powell, and Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Merry Christmas to you too. Thank you for having me.
Niyoka is one of the heroes in our state. So we'll have her back on soon. All right, I want to continue on and talk about some of the, and you got to call it wild speculation about motives. Were they political? Was Ella herself targeted? Um, there can be no, there is no basis as far as we know that this could have been the case. But yeah, a lot of people out there are pushing this. This is William Branson Donahue. He's head of the National College Republicans, and he basically, says here, I'm filled with rage and sadness to learn that she was allegedly targeted. He said, I don't know where you get that from. We've also heard rumors that that it could have been, if he was indeed yelling Allah Akbar, or some people say the shooter was, but yet nobody will confirm. Again, that's wild speculation. So was it anti-Semitic? Was it anti-conservative? Or was it just some crazed gunman? We just don't know. But here's the thing. This right here, there's a very credible person. And let me share this with you. Mark Halperin. If anything, he's a little left-leaning, or used to be anyway. But let me share this little video here. So it's a very credible national reporter. Listen to what he says.
I just need to look up her name. I apologize.
Ella Cook, I think.
Thank you.
Mark.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That the family of Ella Cook, the Alabama young woman who was a sophomore, has been told that she was the target of what happened at Brown. I have no idea whether that's true. There's other theories about why the person did what they did, but now that we don't know who the assailant is, it's going to be harder to say. But if it's true that she was targeted, that's a big story because she was one of the most visible conservatives on that campus.
So this is, this is not just wild speculation by that head of the college Republicans. Some national news outlets are credibly reporting this. I find it hard to believe that would be the case, but until we hear from until they capture this person and we hear from them, you just don't know. Here is here's a more appropriate, I think, response. I think let me share this with you here. Hold on one second. There we go. This is from Vice President J.D. Vance, appropriately pointing out that she was a beautiful young girl and that she had courage to lead an organization of conservatives on a left-leaning campus, future star, the country, an eternal rest grant unto her. That's an appropriate response. We do know all those things are true. But on the issue of political violence, it is true on the other hand. There are crazy, crazy people out there. It's not the guns. We've had guns in our society for hundreds of years. Kids used to take guns in the back of their trucks to schools because they were going to go out hunting after. Their rifles were in their back. We've got crazed people out there. And I believe it's from the indoctrination of social media and what's going on in our schools. We're teaching kids false narratives about their countries. We're teaching kids false narratives about their fellow students who may have a different color or religious belief from them. And you put any weapon in the hands of a crazed person, gun, knife, a bomb, a car, a truck. And when they get riled up, they're going to take action. You heard Niyoka say the temperature is high. We've got to turn the temperature down. Young kids in schools, because we are grooming violence in our schools. I'm convinced. In my opinion, I think, while we'll never be able to prove it, I think the evidence strongly suggests that what we're doing to our kids in schools by exposing them to violent, sexually explicit materials, questions about their own bodies and gender, questions about their own families. They're taught to question whether the parents really have their interest. These are lost kids. And now many of those kids who middle school, high school, college from years ago are now young adults. And when they have access to a weapon, it's not good. I mean, we don't look at Rob Ryan, his praised son. Rumors, I don't know if they're true, rumors that the son was transitioned. Who knows what hormones are being pumped into these kids? What kind of trauma they're going through chemically or emotionally. Why are we doing this? All right, enough of that, enough of me bloviating. Let's get back into the joyous season of Christmas as best we can. Let's hope we capture this murderer at Brown University as soon as we can. And we can all have a joyous and blessed Christmas. So thank you for tuning in. Remember, oceanstatecurrent.com, select the watch menu item, and then select Sten Reacts, or any of the other great shows we have on Ocean State Current to catch the latest episode. So again, a blessed and Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and a blessed holiday season. Sten Reacts, like Sten.